everybody. Welcome to the pro run for Chapter 3 of the Dagger of Amon Ra. We're going to do things a little bit differently this time. For starters, as we'll see modeled here in just a second.
Good evening, Countess.
Good evening, Miss Bow.
Good evening, Dr. Carrington.
Good evening, Miss Bow. Good evening.
That's right, I have decided to leave the voices in for the pro run. I had some requests to feature more of the voice acting, and I figured
I don't have time for idle chat, lass.
that this was a good time for it, so I'll try to talk in between that. The first thing that we're doing
You pick it up and place it in your
First thing
purse.
that we're doing is going to collect the dinosaur bone. I forgot to do that last chapter. It doesn't take off any points, so that's not a big concern. After that, this is, I should mention, where things really start to diverge from the main playthrough, from the bro-op. This is, again, Laura being her most psychic, so she knows exactly where to go and what to do.
Thank you for coming to see me, Olympia. This is very nice of you.
You're very welcome, my dear. What can I do for you?
Oh, you see, I found this strange bone, and I said to myself, Yvette, if anyone can tell you what this is, it would be Olympia.
A bone, you say? How fascinating. Where did you find it?
I found it right here in the museum. Here it is, Doctor.
Now, let me see. Ha ha! Yvette, you silly girl. This is a chicken bone.
It is?
Yes, of course. Why, it is still greasy. You got this at dinner, didn't you?
Oh, you have caught me, Olympia. I was playing the little joke on you.
You are a funny girl, Yvette, but I am quite fond of you.
Olympia, we are the good friends, no? I have the problem I wish to talk to you about.
Oh, certainly. What is it?
Come closer so I can whisper it to you. It is very personal, and I want no one to overhear.
Oh, my. Oh, my. Oh, my.
You know, say what you will about both of their characters, I think the Yvette-Olympia friendship is one of my favorites in the game. Anyway, this first part here is pretty much identical to the bro-op. We overhear Olympia and Yvette just overhearing that they're sort of friends. It seemed more natural this time with Yvette playing sort of the trick on Olympia. That seemed, I don't know, that made more sense to me for some reason hearing it voice acted.
Good evening, Miss Bow.
Oh, you startled me.
Good. It gets the blood flowing, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose so.
I see we're looking at my snake oil.
Well, I was just looking around.
I'm sure you meant no harm.
What's the snake oil for, anyway?
It repels snakes, of course. Comes in handy when I'm working in the basement. I lost a load of Egyptian cobras down there a few weeks ago, and I occasionally come across one of those little darlings. Those snakes always want to bite me, but I'm sure they don't mean anything by it. It's just their way. They get nervous very easily, you know. Normally, I love to watch them kill things. My Barney will kill anything he can sink his teeth into.
Charming.
Well, I'd like to chat some more, but I've got to rush off and meet that young Steve fellow. He promised to show me his scars. See you later.
So Olympia seems fairly sympathetic, creepy, but nice enough. She is going to see our boyfriend, which I'm not sure how quite to take that, although he seems to be taking up with every woman who's of, like, remotely eligible age. As I was saying before, though, this first part is relatively the same as what you saw in the bro-op. We're going to... we found the hieroglyphics from before. Olympia took away her snake oil.
You pick it up and place it in your
We're
purse.
going to get the carbon paper here.
Backlit, You can read the words typed into the carbon paper. Ernie, Big Al called to see if you could do some fencing for him next week. He says he'll make it worth your while to do a fast fencing job.
One interesting thing, I think, is that it's actually a little harder sometimes to play with the voices on, because some things that you like to see and be able to write down, which you can with text, you can't really see. It just reads it to you.
You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette.
I cut off the last part of that there, but we know what it says. There's muffled voices coming from Yvette's.
Come a little closer, Monsieur Nazir. I am wanting to show you something.
And what would that be, Miss Delacroix?
Look at the palm of my hand.
It is a lovely palm, to be sure. But what am I supposed to see?
You see this line, monsieur? It is my love line.
My goodness, Miss Delacroix. It goes all the way up your arm and disappears up your sleeve.
Would you like to see where it ends up, Ramses? Have you ever been to Paris, Ramses?
No, I can't say I ever have.
Then you have never seen the Eiffel Tower?
No.
Well, by all means, let me show you.
Miss Delacroix, please. I'm a married man. Oh, dear.
Have you forgotten who let you into the museum, Ramses? Have you forgotten who showed you the secret room for your little ceremonies? You haven't, have you?
No, I haven't, but...
Then you will let me give you the grand tour of the tower, no?
We'll have to go somewhere else. I don't feel safe here.
Lead the way, monsieur.
Now, prepare for things to get very different from this point on.
A large format illustrated version of Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky.
Yes, it is only that one book which you can find. It's red over on the right side.
You pick it up and place it in your
And
purse.
inside is a police file. You can find this at any time, although you'd have to be very diligent to find it this early.
You admire the wood pulp patterns in the paper.
Thanks, narrator. This, of course, is thanks to Laura's psychic abilities.
You read a police report on the criminal career of one Watney Little, conman extraordinaire. The file contains an amazing list of offences, mostly fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and various degrees of larceny. Glancing at the top of the page, you noticed that the investigations were conducted by Scotland Yard. You also noticed that the last entry describes Little's recent escape from Dartmoor prison. Clipped to the outside of the folder is a small handwritten note that reads simply, "Remember our deal." Apparently this file was provided in exchange for somebody's silence or service.
This actually adds another character to your people list, so you can ask people about Watney Little from this point in time. So apparently he's sort of an important person. The other interesting thing you can do in here is notice this phone list.
Phone numbers: T. Dargan, WP 5125. R. Williams. The handwriting is neat and dark. Phone numbers: T. Dargan, WP 5125. R. Williams, BL 4468. I did it, SH 0244. Be safe, KL 0527. U Hoser, LI 2077. And yet, KL 4004. E Leach, BR 1833.
So this part is actually one of the ones that is harder if you do it in voice as opposed to text, because you can see all those numbers written out. Now most of them were obviously just puns, but we noticed that Be Safe was 0527. Something else that we failed to find in the bro-op so far was this hidden safe, And if we enter the code 0527, we become able to access the safe.
It's the personal diary of former museum president Sterling Waldorf Carlton. Glancing through the diary and the male handwriting within, it refers to Sterling's growing fear that the Countess only married him for his money and that she could be planning to kill him. The final entry reads, Yvette fears her too.
So that's pretty decent dirt on the Countess anyway. Funnily enough, if you try to take it, Laura will not take the diary. She says it's probably breaking some kind of law.
You put your hand in the fireplace. You remember when you were a little girl and used to burn your fingernails off. Unfortunately, except for this little trip down memory lane, there's no other point in doing
You used
this.
to burn your fingernails off in the fireplace? My goodness, Laura. I don't know quite what was going on with the inventory there. For some reason, I'm just dedicated to closing this safe. It doesn't get you any points or anything to do so I'm not quite sure. We found the charcoal.
You pick it up and place it in your purse.
We found the charcoal and did the rubbing in the bro up, but just for the sake of completeness, I'll do it here.
Rubbing the charcoal over the notepad has made the imprint readable. Yvette, 8 o'clock, Egyptian rum. Tut, 10:15 Egyptian rum. Carrington, 11 o'clock, his office.
Now, there is one more thing that we did not find in this room, and that is...
The intercom crackles and you overhear a conversation.
Oh, I so love your scars, Wolfie. Show them to me again, darling.
They are yours to admire, my strudel.
Hoopa! Very, very nice.
Yeah, and I have this new bone for your collection.
Ah, such a large bone, too. Where did you find it?
I've been carrying this bone around for years. It is yours now, my Fräulein. You may do with it what you will.
I'm impressed by your generosity, Wolfie.
The intercom crackles and you overhear a conversation.
Oh, my lover, how do you manage to do it so many times?
Sure, and a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
And you do it so well.
Try and keep your voice down, lass. Someone might hear us.
Oh, I do not care, my amour. Life, she is something we only enjoy once.
Sure, and begorra, I do this at least 50 times a day to stay in shape.
50 times, ooh la la, and what do you call this movement?
Sit-ups, lass. I also do 50 push-ups each day, then I run a few miles.
The intercom crackles and you overhear a conversation.
I'm telling you, pal, you're not supposed to be down here.
Nothing poisonal, Mac, but Archie said I could scope the place out.
Well, he didn't say anything to me about it. Neither did Mr. Heimlich. And he's the chief of security.
It's okay, Mac. Don't get your britches in an uproar. Trust me.
I'd only trust you about as far as I can throw you.
Hey now, there ain't no need for physical violence, Mac.
I'll give you 10 seconds. If you aren't out of my sight by then, I'm gonna hurt you real bad.
You're touchy, ain't ya? But I was done down here anyways. See you around, Mac.
Not if I can help it.
Oh, Amon Ra and your throwaway innuendo. So from that, we got that Olympia and Wolf are in a relationship, which we maybe knew a little bit already. That O'Reilly and Yvette are in a relationship, and that Ziggy was snooping around downstairs.
You pick it up and place it in your purse.
And Ernie doesn't trust him very much, which is probably fair. So that was an incredibly dense room. We also found a file on a con man, Watney Little, who's apparently out of prison, escaped from Dartmoor. And we learned that the previous museum president, who was married to the Countess, was afraid she was going to, she was going to murder him. All this has been more or less hinted at in things we've heard about, but it's just nice to see it confirmed from a more official source. So, most of that, as I said, we did not end up finding in the bro-op. I think we can still find most of it, and May in the rest of the night.
You pick it up and place it in your
Now,
purse.
I said sometimes that Wolf comes out here and interrupts you. Which, by the way, I think I've been carrying this bone around for years. It may be my favorite line in the game. It is fantastic.
You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette's office.
I think you can overhear this conversation at a wide range of times, but I went back to hear it now, just to be sure I didn't miss it.
Well, lass, we've known each other a long time, and I'm not ready to get married yet. But I know one thing for sure. I love you.
Oh, my great detective, this feeling, it is mutual.
Just be keeping in mind that I'd have to kill you if I ever found out you were sleeping with someone else.
What? Oh, you are to be making the little joke, no? Your sense of humor, it is magnifique.
I've already had one bad marriage, and it won't happen again. It's been a long time since I've been able to trust anyone as much as I trust you.
This is very flattering, my love. I am never to be knowing someone like you either. You are so good and so kind.
Well, I try, lass. I try. It's not easy being a cop in this town. The place is lousy with criminals, even in the police force.
Oh no, how terrible.
Sure, and it's a hard thing when a cop goes bad. I've seen it happen. A cop spends years fighting crime and watching the hoods get rich while he risks his life to make just a few bucks. The first time a cop takes a bribe, it bothers him. Oh, but then it gets easier.
You are such a strong man, my Ryan. You would never be accepting the payoff, no?
Sure, and I'm shocked that you'd even say such a thing, Yvette.
I'm sorry, my love. I should have known better.
You'll have to show me how sorry you are. Kiss me.
Gladly, my love. How can I resist?
So that's more confirmation that Yvette and Ryan are in a relationship, and you know, maybe it's not the best. He seems like he's going to be a jealous person, and Yvette is maybe not the best person to be with if you're jealous. He apparently completely trusts her, even though a cursory examination of things would reveal that she is cheating on everybody. Well, you may remember this is the tunnel that killed Ms. Bundefund and Skippy when they were playing through. However, with the lantern, we can safely traverse these tunnels. You have to make sure you wind the lantern before you open the doors, obviously. And this doesn't do anything, isn't any place that we couldn't get to, as you might know, just walking downstairs. This
Interesting. I never noticed that before.
You never noticed what, my love?
You have a tattoo of the Eiffel Tower on the inside of your left eye.
Ah, you are doing this to distract me, no? But I am worried about you, my Ernie. You are so big and so strong. But this ice pick fellow, he is a dangerous one, no?
Yeah, he's dangerous. But I'll pay him his dough. Ernie Leach always pays his debts.
Maybe you can do some more fencing for this Big Al. He pays well.
Yeah, Big Al's a good customer. But there's only so much fencing I can do for one guy.
This ice pick might try to make the example of you before you can pay him off. He keeps leaving these threatening messages.
Don't worry, baby. Icepick knows he won't get his dough if he kills me. Maybe I can get into a hot poker game down at the Harlem Swinger and win enough money to pay him off.
No, no, no. The gambling is what got you into this mess, my Ernie.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But I've got bigger problems tonight. I saw something I wasn't supposed to see.
What?
You're better off if I don't tell you about it. Now, what's this on the top of your Eiffel Tower tattoo?
I think you know what it is, my Ernie. You've seen it before.
And I always enjoy seeing it again, baby.
Ah, you American men are so charming.
Now, maybe this is just me, but I do think there is a little bit of a discrepancy in voice acting. Like, I don't think Ernie's that good.
Oh, good evening, Miss Bo.
Hi, Dr. Miklos. I'm sorry if I startled you.
Oh, that's okay. I enjoy being startled. And please, call me Olympia.
Okay, Olympia. You enjoy being startled?
It gets the blood flowing. I love it. I was just trying to find Daisy, my ferret. She usually has the run of the museum, but it's time for me to feed her.
And you think she might be in here?
Well, she's been spending a lot of time in here lately for some reason. She probably likes the unusual smells. Who knows?
Can I help you look for her?
Thanks, but I'm sure I can find her. Would you mind leaving me for a while so she'll come out of hiding?
Certainly. Sorry to disturb you.
Well, on the other hand, I do really like Olympia, and maybe I'm just blinded by the foreign accents, but anybody with a foreign accent I kind of like. So let's just, with our psychic powers, tool around here in this random vat. And what would we pull up but...
Could it be? Yes. It's heavy. It's shiny. It's real gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a sharp point at one end. It's the Dagger of Amon Ra.
Yes, from the very start of the game, when you get the run of the museum, you can come right down here and find it in that particular vat. Nothing is ever stopping you. Why you would check this one, I don't know. I think they
pick
put
it up and place it in your purse.
I think they put in a...
Boy, the alcohol fume.
You get a little warning about the alcohol fumes. They put that in. If you check 3 vats without leaving the room, you fall in and die. And I might show that off in another one. I think they put that in so that you don't just check all of them and find the dagger immediately. But yeah, as long as you have psychic powers, that is always open to you. Notice, if you will, in this next room, Yvette is actually part of the painting. She is up there in the with the brontosauruses there, the stegosauruses, I guess. So we can actually catch people at their meeting times. One of the first ones that we had was Dr. Smith was going to meet Dr. Carter in the Egyptian exhibit. That was the first meeting of the night that we can catch. So here we go.
Good evening, Dr. Smith.
Miss Bow, I did not expect to see you here.
Ah, but I knew you were coming.
You did? How?
How is not important. The question is, why are you here?
I had an appointment with Dr. Carter.
You must be aware that he's dead.
Dead? Why, I had no idea.
Died right here in this room, as a matter of fact. I'm surprised you hadn't heard.
I'm shocked. I don't know what to say.
I bet you don't. Where were you at 8 p.m. when he died?
At the party, of course. You saw me there.
Actually, I didn't see you there at that time.
But you must. Oh, well, there was the phone call.
Phone call.
Mr. Heimlich told me I had a call waiting on Dr. Carrington's telephone. When I arrived in his office, the line was dead. So I returned to the party.
Was Dr. Carrington in his office?
No, he was at the party.
Did Mr. Heimlich tell you who was calling?
No, he didn't take the call, and I don't know who told him about it.
You and Dr. Carter seem to argue a lot about the Dagger of Amon Ra.
We had our differences of opinion, yes.
Did you kill him?
Miss Bow, I am shocked that you would ask me such a thing. I am leaving.
We'll talk again later.
So it's notable that when you catch people during appointment times, Laura seems to get much more aggressive and confident. She turns into a real sort of pushy reporter. So here's something. Anytime after Chapter 1, pretty much, or after Chapter 2,
It's Dr. Pippin Carter, famous dead archaeologist.
you can find Dr. Carter stuffed in the suit of armor here, which is really bizarre.
Dr. Carter's body has been indelicately crammed into the suit of armor. His filmy eyes gaze in mute shock. His head is bent at an unlikely angle, and the skin is puckered where the helmet's edges bite into the expanding flesh.
She sounds really, sort of bloodthirsty there, but why would anybody do that? And of course, there is the whole deal with how did...
The corpse is wearing a black tuxedo jacket. At the moment, it's a poor fit, especially around the neck.
With how did nobody hear this, or how did this happen? Still a mystery, however. There are other things for us to be doing and finding out. So that's enough for the first pro run. I will catch you guys next time.